Hello, everybody. I am Jarrett Ross, the GeneaVlogger, and welcome to another GeneaVlogger live stream. Hope everyone is having a wonderful Friday. It is Memorial Day weekend here in the United States, so a lot of people celebrating, taking their 3-day weekends and heading out to the beach and probably to the mountains and elsewhere and all that. But I actually just got back from the beach from Charleston, South Carolina. Was down there for a fun little trip for a few days. Got to do a lot of cool stuff. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about it, but let's do our typical going through hellos. And we'll start here with Eve Cotton. I'll be there, but I work till 4:15-ish, so I'll be a bit late, so I'll say hi now. Well, hello, Eve. Thank you for the hello. I guess you might be in here now for the next 10 minutes, or yeah. Or you work till 4:15, so you'll be here in 10 minutes. But then we also have Anna Tomaso. Hello from Rochester, New York. Hello, Anna. Good to see you as always. And we have Stig, our Scandinavian representation from Oslo, Norway. And then we have Adam Biros. Good evening from rainy Slovakia. Well, welcome, Adam. Representing some more of that Balkan ancestry. And then Julia Joyce, hello from England. Hello, Julia. Good to have you. And hello, Mom. Good to see you. My mom was on the trip with me, so back in NC too. Tay, hi from Eminence, Kentucky. Hello. Good to see you. And then Charlie, hello, Wagwan. What is Wagwan? I'm a little lost. Unless I missed something in the Discord, which good mention if you're not in the Discord. Definitely go check out our Discord server. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff that we do in there, just fun polls and whatnot, which I do on my YouTube community stuff too. A lot of people probably see those. Ruby Barnett, hello from Bloomington, Illinois. Hello, Ruby. Thanks for joining today. And we have Garrett, hi from Berlin. Hello, Garrett. Good to see you. Thank you for joining. And Stephanie Jones from Chicago. Hello, Stephanie. And Nicole Ann, howdy from Albuquerque. Well, hello. Good to have you, Nicole. Thank you. And we have Rebecca Lindstad, hi from Stockholm. Hello. Good to have you, Rebecca. And my cousin, Catherine Michael, I'm here waiting for the video. I am editing it. We have a lot of footage. I realized that when you have like 30 candies and you have, 1 or 2 minutes per candy, it ends up being like an over hour long video. So I've been going through and I'm kind of having to cut some stuff that I'm going by the editing saying that I heard, which was basically sometimes you have to kill your babies. And that's just meaning that sometimes things that you really wish you could keep in the video, you have to cut it out just for time. So I actually am having to go back through and re-edit. So maybe I'll do two. Maybe I'll do like a long edit and maybe I'll do a shorter edit. And then the long edit will be kind of like a special thing for my Patreon and YouTube members. That's probably what I'll do. That's a good idea. En Nick Brokema, goedenavond van Groningen. Goedenavond, Nick. Ik hoop dat alles goed met jou. Yeah, I got to speak a good bit of Dutch while I was in South Carolina because I got to meet up with one of my Dutch cousins. So that was really cool. And I have not been able to do that before. And we actually went through a Duolingo lesson and I was getting a lot of tips on how to properly pronounce stuff. So that was really cool. And like just things of like, Duolingo says to say it that way, but we really say it this way. Ekstat, hola, ¿cómo está? We've got all sorts of folks all over from all over the world here, and always good to see lots of languages in the chat too. Charlie, Wagwan is Jamaican for what's going on. Oh, Wagwan. I think that's it. It's like Wagwan. PZ, hi, GeneaVlogger from East LA. By the way, Slovakia is Central Europe, not Balkan. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I was kind of like thinking about because it is. I mean, I always think Czechoslovakia, and then it's split, and so you have Slovakia in the east. But yeah, I guess yeah, that's not Balkan. Yeah, you're right. but it's close. It's close. It's close. It could have been worse, I guess. Rob, transcribing my grandfather's 100 plus letters written during his time in the army from 1938 to May 1940, when the Germans invaded on his birthday and crossed the Greb line where he was stationed. Evening. Interesting. Have you considered trying an OCR technology like Transcribus to do that? And basically, you don't rely on it to do the entire thing. You just have it do a first copy, and then you go through and edit, and that it kind of basically speeds the workflow. And to me, that's like a very proper and useful way of utilizing AI. I know I've seen people that will try that on ChatGPT and stuff like that too, but I feel like OCR technology is probably a lot better. So yeah, that'd be interesting. And there's a link to the Discord server. Thanks, Charlie, for supplying that. Yeah, we've got a lot of people in there, lots of chats about genealogy. We've got an off-topic chat that it's all over the place. But yeah. Catherine, yeah, it was a fun session. Sugar overload. Yeah, very much a sugar overload. And funny enough, when we redid a lot of those candies, there were only like 2 candies that we really only needed to redo. Almost all of them, I for some reason, it looked like when I was looking at like the files on the chip, it was like showing nothing. And I thought, oh no, I lost that footage. And that's why I was like, oh, but no, we have it. So technically there's like an hour and 45-minute cut where it's us retrying the candies and reenacting basically what the reactions were in the first place. It was kind of funny watching. But it was really cool because seeing like what our true reactions were, and then when we tried to redo them. So yeah, there's going to be 2 candies in there that are reactions, but little inside behind the scenes that you all get. Hello, Lewis Playford from Georgia, USA. Thank you for joining. Good to have you. And we have Retro Rob Casa. Good morning. Good to see you, Retro Rob. Hope you're doing well. Xdot, what is Greece, Lebanon, Israel, Cyprus, and all this Western Asian countries considered? Is the Middle Eastern? I'm not quite sure I'm understanding the question. I mean, I would just kind of say, I guess a lot of that, it's basically Mediterranean. I mean, with Greece especially in there, and Cyprus, that's much more Mediterranean than Middle Eastern. So I'm not quite sure if I get the question. Rob, I tried Transcribus, but my grandfather's handwriting is horrible. Transcribus can't handle it. Can't believe he was head school teacher. Well, one thing that might be interesting to try, and it's a little bit more on the advanced side of OCR, so it might take a little bit of time to kind of get to it, but I imagine you'd be able to do it. And that's basically training a model specifically on your grandfather's handwriting. So you have 100 plus letters, and I don't know how many letters you necessarily need, or basically how many pages of text you really need to truly train a model. But if you can train a model on part of the text, then you can try to do OCR of the rest of the text, depending on how much. I mean, you said 100 plus, so that could be just like 105, or it could be 500 or something. Although I imagine if it's 500, you'd probably say something more than that, but I don't know. But yeah, and for those who are unfamiliar with Transcribus, I should pull that up. It's a very interesting website. I talk about it all the time. And basically, it's a technology that is geared towards optical character recognition, recognizing text on paper and then creating a digital form of that. And so anyone can sign up for it. It is actually a free website to use the basic stuff. So like they say here, 50 credits free every month. Every credit basically represents one page being transcribed. So technically, I think it can get a bit more complicated if I think there's some advanced tools on there that cost more credits, but basically you get 50 free pages to transcribe every month. And the way that it works is that they've created these models. They've trained models basically on specific sets of records. So let's see if we can find something on the models. Here we go, field models. So basically what they do is they give a bunch of text and transcribe it themselves and train the computer to recognize the characters. So they say this word is equated to what we're typing here, and over time the model learns how to then read that text basically. So, if you're reading a Russian handwriting versus a Greek handwriting versus a Hebrew handwriting versus an English handwriting, and especially from 17th century versus 20th century, and then maybe different typing fonts, especially once you get into like the more modern age, like the 19th century and 20th century, once you have the, printing press, much more common making stuff. And just, yeah, so it's you have all these various models that you can train, and so they have some models that are geared towards many languages, some models that are geared toward very specific languages, and some that are geared towards specific languages within a specific time period. So let's see if we can public AI models so we can see what models are available. So let's try to make this bigger. So you can see how these models are. So there's the Text Titan, and you can see 10 plus languages. So it's trained on 31,127,219 words. And if we look at the model, we can look at its training chart. That's not going to be anything. Let's see training parameters. I think I have to log in for stuff, but this one's geared towards a lot of stuff. And I think that's they have different supermodels. I think the supermodels are the ones that often cost more, but then I guess some are free. I forgot exactly the differences. But like, okay, here, Western Sephardic Diaspora. So this is from the Anasiel Hebraica project, a really amazing project run by David Silvera, who actually just won an award at the recent Jewish Genealogy Conference for the International Jewish Genealogy Conference that was in Indiana. So he actually won an award for his project, and this was part of it. But it's trained on 530,904 words, includes 4 languages, Portuguese, Spanish, or I guess it's 3 languages, Portuguese, Spanish, and Castilian, and then English. Or yeah, 4. So depending on what records you're trying to utilize or have transcribed, you can... So, yeah, I think this is the accuracy. It says they train the model, the accuracy of it. All right, so let's see. Okay, XDOT. Sorry, that's what I was asking. I didn't know if that was considered Mediterranean or Middle Eastern because it goes down to Israel and Iraq. Yeah. I mean, Greece and Cyprus, I definitely would consider. I mean, I guess that's technically Balkan. I'm not quite sure. I mean, it's Mediterranean. It's kind of, I don't know. I've always seen them as kind of their own thing. So I don't know. Are they considered Balkan? I mean, they're like the southern point of that. Then Cyprus is a whole different on its own island. Irene, hey, good to see you. Thanks for joining. Charlie, the Middle East would be West Asian countries. Greece wouldn't be Middle Eastern, but they are Eastern Mediterranean. Yeah. Next lifetime. I have a few letters from family from the early 1900s. I'll have to try this. Yeah, that's the nice thing is it's free to try. You get and even on top of that, it's continuous with free credits. So it just I don't think the credits add up. It's basically once you use your credits. Let's go back. I think once you use your credits, you get it just every month it recharges to 50 or whatever. Rebecca, I've always assumed that the European countries are called Mediterranean and the other two you asked about are called Middle Eastern. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, not Balkan. Yeah, I've never really thought of them as Balkan, although they are like right there. But then again, I guess I just called Slovakia Balkans. Tate, my dad's family from Cuba is there. Is any way to get records? Oh, is there any way to get records from Cuba? Yeah, we'll look at that in a second. Greece is Balkan, Cyprus isn't. Yeah, I have got nieces writing after 40 letters, but it's a challenge, but it's worth doing. Yeah, well, those types of projects I feel like are always really useful. So all right, let's jump real quick. We'll do Tete's question about Cuba. So for Cuba, just do my typical go to the family search wiki to start. So all I do is I just Google Cuba family search wiki. And then it brings up this super helpful page. And, you know, some pages have more info than others. This one's pretty bare, although I don't know if these, oh yeah, none of them, they're all numbered, but sometimes on some of the pictures, you'll actually click on it and it'll take you the specific province, but there's no links here. So Cuba Online Genealogy Records. So it looks like there's some stuff. A lot of it's on Family Search, which makes sense. It's probably Family Search that paid for a lot of digitization stuff, which Family Search pays for a lot of digitization. They do a lot all around the world. They've currently have a huge project in Ukraine actually going. So Cuba church records, 1584 to 1918. Caribbean marriages, 1591 to 1905. 1584 to 1918. Oh, wait. Yeah, that's the same one. They just list it multiple times, but it applies to birth, marriage, and death. So it has all three. They have divorces, which are on Find My Past, but that's specifically from the British Armed Forces. So births and baptisms, bonds and marriages, deaths and burials. Surname and so there's a bit here. Unfortunately, there's no information on archives and all of that. So the next best thing would just be kind of like Googling, you know, Cuban archives and just basically what the first thing you really need to do to figure out how to do genealogy is you need to read about what resources are available. And it's often very good to read genealogy projects from others, or if you can find books about certain places or just anything that can help you. And there's often, the thing is nowadays it's basically mostly websites and blogs and things like that. So Cuban genealogy, and there's a Cuban Genealogy Club of Miami. Let's see, there's a Reddit rant on genealogy from 3 years ago. I think I actually recognize that name. I feel like that's someone that has been on the channel in some way, or like, I don't know. I'm not going to put it on the screen right now, or maybe I will. Okay, let's do that. That's fine. Whatever. So, quick rant about Cuban genealogy. Why it got to be so hard. Both my parents are Cuban. I took a DNA test, as did my parents. We mostly had like 80% from Spain, with the rest being a bit African, Middle East, Native American, English, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland. Although this is 3 years ago, so I wonder if wonder what their update is. Although I don't think it's accurate on the British Isles, but I might be wrong. But ugh, it's so hard to get records from there unless you personally go there or have someone that lives there currently that can get you the documents. My family doesn't know very far back besides my great-grandparents, and it's basically the same for my matches. Wish there was an easier way. Yeah, so it sounds like it's just a natural thing. But yeah, this is actually really good advice. Look for naturalization records, immigration, marriage, all that. There's this cubangenweb.org. There's a Facebook group. There's always a good Facebook group. But the thing I would also say, immigration records are like amazing, and even more the records from like USCIS, the alien files. Here, let's over here. USCIS genealogy A files. Let's just start with that. I'm sure it'll take us. So, okay, so USCIS records. Now, I guess this is also assuming that you're in the United States, but basically they have different types of records. So there's the A files, which are the alien files, and they have a lot of amazing information. We're going to look at some images of what some A files look like. I thought, are we? Do they have them here? Where? Okay. I guess you can kind of see what some of them look like. But they can just be really, really useful records. But on top of that, basically, you have multiple different records at USCIS, and you need to see which ones fit for your family. So there are A files, there's the AR2 files, which are very specific. And actually, there was AR2 files pulled for research on the Pope's family. So if you watch that video and the what do you call it? The live stream, what I'm doing now, the live stream I did with Kyle Betty and Haley from Genealogy Discord, when Kyle's from Ancestry Pro, and they were talking about their research on the Pope. I don't know why I can't think right now. Although I guess I did have a big couple of days, the past few days, and drove for like 4 or 5 hours yesterday. Also went to Buc-ee's for the first time yesterday, so that was interesting. But okay, back to this. C files, naturalization certificate files. These are also really good ones. There's the visa files, and then there's the registry files. Although I don't have as much. I can't even think. I don't have as much experience with that one. Let's see with C files image gallery. Okay, so here we have examples of C files. Show us more. Show us more. I think visa files are pretty common. They don't show anything. All right, whatever. I think that's good enough. That's good enough. All right. Let's see. All right, Diana O'Higgins. Hello. I'll give it a try because even when I manage old scripts, there are one document that is Hidalgua from Spain, more precisely from Navarra, where an Irish ancestor asked for residency. Interesting. Good evening, Bervar. Good to see you. Good to see you. X dot. So, what is Cyprus and Israel considered? I mean, I don't know. I guess Cyprus would just be Mediterranean, and Israel would be the Levant or Middle Eastern. Yeah. Bear Var, I've been playing around with the auto cluster and dogme tool on GEDmatch and love it. Thank you. How do I interpret the ROH column? Should I discard the higher numbers as likely endogamy? I actually have to look back and remember what the ROH column is. Because I just consulted on the tool. The tool was made by EJ Blum. So some of the more advanced parts of it I'm not quite as familiar with. Let's see. Oh, the runs of homozygosity. Okay. That's a little mind right there. Okay, so with runs of homozygosity, the higher numbers, I don't know if they would necessarily indicate likely endogamy. I guess that could be it. It's basically just indicating that there's more homozygosity happening. Basically, a specific spot in the DNA, you have the same 2 base letters, and indicating that you got the same letter. Your mom and your dad have that same letter at the same spot in their DNA as well. So, I mean, it could be indicative of endogamy, but yeah, I'm not quite sure. I think that's yeah. I'm like I'm reading through some of the search results on runs of homozygosity. Right, let's just jump ahead. Next lifetime. I want to request all immigration citizenship records for my great-grandpa who immigrated to the USA in 1922 and requested to be naturalized in 1940, I think. Yeah, so they do. The annoying thing is they make you pay for the search. At least I haven't ordered in a while, so I don't know if they still do this. But yeah, they make you pay for the search. And then if you get, if they find something, then you can order it. So yeah, I guess this process chart, this flow chart of theirs. Oof. I'm definitely going to take a nap after this. I don't know what it was, but just like in the past few minutes, I've definitely started to feel the like, yeah, I took a big road trip yesterday. All right. Oh, and a USCIS genealogy search is $30. I just did it recently. Okay. Yeah, there's been so much going on with the USCIS records and the other records where they keep trying to make it more expensive, and then there's different lawsuits with Reclaim the Records and other groups. And yeah, right now, there's a whole thing going on with the VA, which I actually posted sort of on my Instagram. But basically, the Burrell's website, the BIRLS.org website, which that's a record set for American military. But basically, this was a site that was created to easily FOIA request records, specifically what's known as C files. If you saw my video, the most recent one on Max Miller's family history, which goes into his father's father who served in World War II, we successfully FOIA requested those records, the exact records that this website requests. But because of the low amount of, or the I don't know the proper way to say it, I guess. Not that there needs to be a proper way, but basically because there's so few workers at the VA now and there's so many requests, they've basically started to just deny the request. That's not what they're saying, but it's kind of obvious, or it seems to be that's the case. I don't truly know, that's speculation, but it certainly seems very odd that all of a sudden these records that we were successfully FOIA requesting a year ago, now all of a sudden they're claiming have no genealogical relevance, when I've already found the records for multiple cases. I even got my own grandfather's C files at the same time as getting Max's grandfather's C files. And there was some very good genealogical information in there. Very helpful. So them saying that seems very contrary to my experience. So yeah, it's a thing that a lot of genealogists have been posting about, because over the past 2 or 3 weeks they've been sending out the replies to the requests. So I've only gotten 3 so far. I actually put in probably at least a dozen, if not more, requests through this website. The ones that I did for the video for Max and the one on my grandfather and a couple others before this website, they were done before this website was made. So they were done, actually, my buddy Alec Ferretti, who was a big part of getting this website set up, and basically the work behind a lot of this too. on other ends, but Alec helped me get that a year ago, like actually do the letters. He basically did the letters for me, actually. So and it's Tommaso record of non-existence is 280 online, or mail-in is 330. Yeah, the cost is so high. It's so ridiculous. C, will there be an ethnicity estimate update on Family Tree in the next time? I guess soon, because I had seen twice in the last time the message about an update. Not 100% exactly what you're saying, but I get the gist that, when are they going to do an update on Family Tree DNA? And I honestly don't know. I never keep that close of an eye of, when they're doing admixture updates, the ethnicity estimate updates, because I really don't find them that useful. I think every time they come out, they're very worthwhile to see the new results just to get an idea. Is there something that might be going on that they're able to see now? But even then, it's just a hint of a possibility, and you still have to use your DNA matches and actual genealogy research to figure it out. So, yeah. Let's see. Did I miss some stuff? X dot. I'm trying to figure out what part of France my great grandfather is originally from. I know he's French Canadian. I know his DNA is 75%, 25%. Iberian last name, Belou. Don't know if I said Belou. Any way to find out with that? You need to start researching in French Canadian records, depending on where he was living. You need to find out what records are available and really search for the records that especially show you that'll show you where he came from. So any sort of immigration records, any sort of manifest records of going to Canada. So you might be able to find arrival records into Canada. Not 100% sure on that. But you may also be able to find departure records going to Canada. So like there's records from, Liverpool and Hamburg and all these other places. Although I guess, if they're leaving from France, it'll depend on where they're going from, especially if it's southern France or northern France. But just I guess it'd be Le Havre would be a big port that's a possibility. But basically, what records are available from other ports of departures? So the other thing is depending on how rare their name is, you might be able to use that to figure it out, but it can be a little difficult to do. All right. Rebecca Lindstedt, Greek side of Cyprus is a member of the EU, but you are right. Cyprus is not Europe. Both Israel and Cyprus is the Middle East. Yeah, and then don't even get started on Turkey because that's in 2 continents. That's definitely such an oddity with Turkey. X thought I was assuming it was southern France just because 25% of his DNA is Iberian, but that's just a guess because Spain is obviously to the south of France. Yeah, it could be south of France, but maybe it's also western France. So certainly could be southwestern France, maybe Bayonne, Bordeaux sort of thing. But yeah, it could also just be western France or northern France, maybe, up in Normandy, something like that. Still a lot of different various connections and such. All right. Let's clean this up a little bit. I'm actually kind of curious. I want to go through some more of these because there's so much, and I haven't checked it in a while. See, how do I? Oh, it's because I made it bigger. That's such a bad design. I can't see how many words are in each one now. So there's a way to close that. Nope. All right. Just do this. So civil records readers, so Yiddish. Oh, yeah, we can see Amsterdam tables, fields. Interesting. So even more. Layouts. All right, let's stick with text. I guess let's see languages. Let's go Dutch. There's a lot. And these text titans. See, Dutch Dean, supermodel, 24,721,830 words, 3.5% accuracy. Do. Okay. Dutch Dean, highly capable, transcribus supermodel, recognizing handwritten and printed Dutch texts. Nothing on the chart. I feel like it doesn't show you as much as it used to. All right, let's do a different language. Let's do something interesting. Ukrainian. So printed Ukrainian 20th century. So yeah, there's not a whole lot. Maybe Russian. So I wonder. No, nothing if I say Jewish. Let's see. Jewish. So yeah, Western Sephardic. Let's see this. So this is trained on Hebrew, Yiddish, Judeo-Arabic, and Ladino. Almost 1.5 million. I mean, 1,498,332 words. 1.79% accuracy. That's not very good. 15th to 21st century. I feel like with that sort of a spread, Hebrew, Yiddish, Judeo-Arabic, and Ladino, that actually could detract from the model. Like, one of the things I've always thought when it's come to OCR and training the models, and I will say I don't have any like firsthand experience training models for this. I just kind of have learned about how it basically works. But I would imagine that the more variety you give these types of models, the harder it is to decipher because it has more possibilities in its mindset. Whereas if instead of doing, Yiddish, Judeo-Arabic, and Ladino, I would just do Hebrew by itself, Yiddish by itself, and then maybe Judeo-Arabic and Ladino together, but even then possibly separate, because I imagine there's very subtle differences in each one that it would be better to train a model specifically for that. And so I've actually felt like that concept to me makes it seem that the models that have more languages it tries to gear it towards, the worse off it's going to be. I mean, I could be wrong on that, but I think, it's better to kind of hone it in on specifics. All right, let's jump forward. Eggsy Trek Jedi. Hello, how do I find out about my Native American heritage from the Sauk, Cherokee, and Blackfoot? I know very little about tracing Native American ancestry, but the first thing that I would think is just a quick Google search, and most especially looking for what is the second highest link, and that is the wiki for United States Indigenous Peoples on Family Search. And so it's going to depend on where you're from, or where your ancestry traces to. And then I guess it also depends on, it looks like they have it broken down by tribe as well. Although I know some tribes can like have large expanses, but let's look at, let's see, South. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, so I apologize. So, all right, nothing there unless it's this as well. Okay. So records, the majority of records of individuals were those created by the agencies. Some records may be available to tribal members through the tribal headquarters. They were and are the local office of the Bureau of Indian Affairs and were charged with maintaining records of the activities of those under their responsibility. Among these records are allotment records, annuity records, or annuity rolls, census records, correspondence, health records, reports, school census and records, vital records. Family Search has some stuff, although it looks like you have to go to the Family Search Library, which is in Salt Lake City. Or I guess no, there's other Family Search libraries around, but I don't know if the Family History Centers count or what. I don't know. So a whole hierarchy with the Family Search Centers and stuff. And then so you can just look and learn what's available by going through this wiki. And then, if you come from multiple tribes, then you can, go and look at each one. And then the other thing to look for is these buttons, the blue ones, where it's an online genealogy records. And then that gives you this list where it gets very specific. So if like you're looking for an ancestor in a specific time period, you can go through and see what are the records available that were around or that were happening while your ancestor was alive, because those are going to be the most likely ones where you're going to find that ancestor. And then, of course, you figure out which ones apply to your ancestor most. So if it happened while they were alive, but it's a military thing for men and the ancestor you're researching is a woman, extremely unlikely you'll find them in those records. Of course, it'll vary depending on, the history. So if women were part of those records, then maybe it makes more sense. But yeah, so that's kind of just the general areas that you can learn how to further trace. So hopefully that helps you. And I should say, I know we're starting to get to a point where, the chat isn't going super fast, but I'm starting to do my little rambling and stuff. So if I miss any questions or anything like that, you can try to repost them, and I, try to answer questions in the chat. I can't guarantee I'll answer all of them, but if you do a super sticker, which I mentioned up here, or a super chat, I guarantee I will answer those as well. I greatly appreciate when anyone does that, because that really does help support the channel and allows me to keep doing live streams like this every Friday. But with that said, let's jump back into what we got over here. Shari S. Hi, I just got here, so sorry if this has already been covered. My grandfather was Jewish from Lithuania. I've searched for his immigration records from Berman, ? 1905, 1906. What's next? And then you say, P.S. He landed in St. John's, Canada. Okay, so the thing is that I guess immigration records from Berman. I don't know Berman. If you can expand on that? I don't know if that's supposed to be Bremen or something else. But basically, if you know where he came from, although you say Lithuania, is there a Berman, Lithuania? House. I don't know. But basically, if you know your grandfather's from Lithuania, the place that I would suggest looking would be the Litvak SIG database. Litvak SIG is the Lithuanian Jewish Special Interest Group, and they have a database that you can then search on, the All Lithuania database. You just go in and then you choose your fields. And so, you know, if you want to put your grandfather's surname in the chat, I can do a search for it. But one of my, I'll do one of my families that was here, Drotkowski, just so you can kind of see what the results look like. And so it gives us these various, how many records, and there we go. We've got all these different Drotkowskis. And right here, those are my second great grandparents. Is that right? No, those are my third great grandparents. This record right here. And then we can actually go to the Polish State Archive, and it's not always very easy to find it. You kind of follow these. So we're looking for record number 22. Why is it showing one at a time? What's it doing? You're drunk. Okay, we'll do it this way. We'll do it this way. It's so slow. All right, well, we know it's record number 22. Boop, bada boo. This thing is just moving too slow. We'll go back to scans. Oh, that's why. One entry. Show me 200. Guess I don't really need 200. I just need a little bit. I need to find record 22. All right, let me check. I don't see Shari putting. I don't see Shari putting the surname in yet. So let's see. 16. 16, 18, 26, 23, 22. All right. And so there. I believe, is that right? 22. I don't know if that's right. It doesn't look right. Nico Drotkowski. Record number 22. Unless, all right, what year is this? 1855, 1855. No. If anyone else can read this, because from my understanding of these, that I mean, we've got Burko, Lazarovitz, Clay. Yeah, weird. Something's off. Although I could be wrong. Let's see, is there 6 and that's all of them? Weird. Unless it means this 22. Image 22. No. This is one of the annoying things. I always run into this with the Polish State Archive stuff. Like, I think this was indexed on older information, but I'm not 100% sure. All right. I'm going to have to figure that out on my own time. But yeah, those are my third great grandparents. And then this is where my Ross name comes from. I come from a long line of names being changed. So interestingly enough, Yankel and Frida were first cousins because Hirsch and Tadris were brothers, both sons of Notko. And this was Notko Drotkowski, but he was also known as Notko Chiniska, Chiniski, excuse me. And then for some reason, the name Rosenberg was also in there. And when Yankel and Frida moved to the United States, they changed their name to Rosenberg. And a lot of the other family that moved over did the same thing, although some of them changed it to other stuff. This was all figured out through DNA testing. Because we had so many DNA testers on my family side, so many DNA testers on the other family sides, and we were able to actually piece it all together. A huge part of that research being done by my cousin Evan Wolfson, who's related to me on a whole other line of my family. But he actually recognized my family popping up for this family because he was already researching this family for somebody else. So yeah, just very interesting. Very interesting. All right, let's see. Liv, how would a Moroccan Jew know if they are part of the old Jewish community pre-Sephardi or the descendants of the Sephardic immigrants? We've always referred to ourselves as Sephardic, but I'm unsure. I'm honestly not 100% sure either. I'm not the most well-versed with that history or that side of the Sephardi story. One place I would suggest possibly looking is the Sephardic Genealogy YouTube page and see the talks they have from various researchers on Moroccan Jews. There's a lot of amazing researchers doing research on them. One of my good friends in the genealogy community, Raquel Levi Toledano, who is from the Moroccan Jewish community. She's also a curator on genie.com with me, and she's also a fellow board member of the International Association of Jewish Genealogical Societies with me as well. So she's very experienced, and she has a lot of materials out there, I believe. At the very least, she has a lot of materials on genie.com. But she's also done a lot of presentations about the DNA research that she's been doing on the Moroccan Jewish community and the North African Jewish communities altogether, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, and all those connections. All right. Let's see. Oh, Diamond. Okay. Diamond's a tough one. I mean, for one, yeah, you have all the various versions of it. But then, yes, Diamond. Oh, there's not a whole lot here, but I guess, let's see. Diamond. What do we get that? Oh, yeah, a lot more on that. So, but yeah, just look through the database. And if you know even better, more specifically, the town that they came from, then you can, hopefully figure that out. But you'll see also other possible spellings, and that gives you a hint of ways to try the search function, or, things to search with on when you search in that database. So, yeah. What is this website? This website is LitVoxSig. It's hosted by its database is hosted by Jewish Gen, I believe. Post a link for it. And yeah, it's if you have Lithuanian Jewish ancestry, this is the place. Now, what I often suggest is it's kind of honestly better to just search directly through Jewish Gen, because the LitVoxSig database is part of that. And so when you search the entire Jewish Gen website, if you have family that moves somewhere else, you may find them somewhere else. So a great example for me is my Shvedsky family. My line moved from an area in or from a place called Vasilishki. And so Vasilishki. So these are, here's my family. Although that wasn't who I thought it was. But yeah, so the Shvedskys are my family, and basically they moved to Kiev. And if I only searched through the Litvak Sig database, I wouldn't know otherwise that they had moved elsewhere. So let's do jewishgem.org. So Shvedsky, I'll do that. And then any field, I know that they were in Vasilishki. So I searched that. And then down here, the LivFoxSig database. But then you can see there's other records. So there's Bessarabia, Belarus, Ukraine. And so if I look at the one in Ukraine, then I can see that even though that this is recorded in Kamenets Podolsk in the Podolia gubernia, for some reason they have a meta tag here for Vasilishki, which I'm trying to figure out why. Could be this, Kvajish. So, but let's see, Bessarabia. So Bessarabia, we can see father is middle class, registered in Vasilishki, but here they're in Soroki, Bessarabia. So we have David, Abram Udall, or David, son of Abram Udall, Abraham Udall. Then we have this completely other couple, but both in Soroki and both father from Vasilishki. So just a way to find if your family went somewhere else. But let's see. I'm going to take Vasilishki off. Shvedsky was luckily not that super common of a name, so it's a little easier for me to search on here. But I just want to pull up my family here. So, okay, yeah, so we've got Ukraine. And then, where is it? Here we go. This right here. Oh, and I lost it. There we go. This right here, this is the marriage of my second great grandparents. So the marriage of my second great grandfather, Gershko Kazenovich, who, when he came to America, became Harris Casino, and to his wife, Raklia Shvedsky, who would then become Rachel Casino when she came to America. Although whenever they would record her name, it wasn't Shvedsky. It would always be more like Skavatsky. And so for a long time, I couldn't find much because instead of doing like Skvetsky or something, I always do Skavatsky. And that phonetic difference made a big difference in that. And so this goes directly to the image. I know that because I've looked at this many times, and actually someone who hasn't been on the live stream in a while, and I actually hope she's okay, is Sajuka, who's from Ukraine, and she helped me with translating this. And it was very interesting because it even mentioned that my second great grandfather had gotten divorced, and the family story we always heard was that his first wife had died. But really, they'd gotten divorced, and the first wife got remarried, and he got remarried. So it was like, whoa, that was a big difference. And then thanks to that, found a lot of other stuff. But here we have Berko Kazenovich. And then let's see. I'm trying to find it. Here we go. Well, here's the father, Meyer Shvedsky. Trying to find Ruklia's name. Why am I missing it? Because it'll start with what looks like a P. Ruklia. Yeah, I'm missing it. Why am I missing it? Because we have Meyer Shvedsky there. Ruklia. Okay. There it So that's why I was missing it. It goes across to Rocklea. Yeah. All right. Thanks. I'll try here, hoping to find manifests. Jose Lopez. I've always wondered why I'm ethnically Mexican, but I have ancestry from other parts of the world in my past. That's what it means to be ethnically Mexican. Mexicans are a mixed ancestry. Brian Lewis, hello. Shari, okay, I have to go. Thanks. Well, glad that was hope that was helpful. So yeah. All right. I'm noticing that I've been going basically for an hour, and I've definitely I'm definitely a little tired. Need to go take a nap after a long day yesterday traveling. But it was good. Finally got to check out Buc-ee's, which was pretty cool. But I don't know, anyone been into Buc-ee's before? If you have, throw a beaver emoji in the chat. But it's the largest gas station in the United States. Excuse me. It's the largest gas station in the United States, or at least one of them is. The one I went to was in South Carolina, and yeah, it was interesting. Very interesting. But yeah, see you next week. What would that be? Tot Vake? Tot Vake? Wouldn't that make sense? Tot Vake in Netherlands? Let's see you next week. Adam, thank you for the stream tonight. Have a good weekend. Thank you very much. Jose, I guess that means if anyone asks if I'm mixed, I'll say yes. Technically, yeah, I guess so. I have not, but can't wait until I see one. Buc-ee's. Yeah, they're pretty cool. Tot Vagende Week. Tot Vagende Week. Dank je. Yeah, tot ziens, tot later, tot snel. Well, tot snel will see you soon, but or at least I think that's what it is. So, all right. Oh, yeah. And my mom was with me, so shit. Oh, that's a moose. I think that's a moose emoji. Oh, John, didn't know you're here. Thanks for being here. All right. Thanks, everybody. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your Friday. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I will see you again next week. I'm Jarrett Ross, GeneaVlogger. I'm out. Bye.